And we're back, dear viewers, with our second guest. So translation is essential for ensuring that information is accurately conveyed and that the original meaning of the text is not lost in the process. Accurate translation is essential for avoiding misunderstandings and ensuring that all parties correctly and quickly understand information. Our guest is a faculty member at Kuwait University, graduated from Durham University in the United Kingdom with a degree in Arabic English translation and interpretation. So let's all welcome, dear viewers, Fatima Ali Haji Ibraheem, a faculty member in health sciences at KU. Welcome on board, Fatima.
Thank you very much. Ramadan Mubarak and good morning.
Thank you, Mubarak al-Shar, and thank you for joining us.
So
we would love to talk more about translation and why it is a major study in nowadays.
Right. This is a question to be answered in 7 lectures, honestly. Translation is something that is innately done by us as humans. If you meet someone, you automatically translate their body language, their faces. So it's a process that we do it instinctively. However, as a major, it has been formulated as a scientific structural discipline, probably recently, just a few decades ago.
Okay.
At the beginning, when translation was used, it was used to transfer language, knowledge from one culture to another. So it was done by ordinary people during before the civilizations. So after that, once they saw that translation needs structure and framework, it has been developed into a major. And of course, there's a lot of dispute between different schools saying that is translation a literary major, a literature major,
right,
or is it a scientific major? Is it theory-based, structural-based, or is it literary-based?
That's very interesting. Since you mentioned these points, I think translation is very, very important. Since ancient times, people used to communicate with each other and they needed to know what language to speak to the other party.
Right.
So since we're interviewing you here, Fatima Ali Haji Ibrahim, why did you choose translation as a major?
My BA was in English literature, so it's Shakespeare stuff. It's very different from translation, theories and structural language elements. The very definition of translation is what actually motivated me to go into translation, because translation, coming from the prefix trans, meaning changing from one form to another, makes things easier for people. A translator makes a life easier for people. They're transferring knowledge that is not accessible in any other way. So towards the end of my BA, when I graduated, I saw that there's a lot of literary texts, very rich texts in the Arabic language that are not accessible to the wider audience. And since globalization is entailed in our lives, these texts are mandatory to be shown and to be translated and disseminated to these audiences. So why not participate in this process? So it was a personal motive, to be honest, and it's a very different branch of literature because it goes into theory framework, into scientific structural language. It becomes very solid and dry in some cases. Yeah. So I had to do a whole new study when I went into my MA for translation. I need to catch up with my colleagues who already started with linguistics. Linguistics is the other branch of English, English being branched literature and linguistics. Yes. Translation comes from linguistics. Literature is a very different branch. So it is considered a different approach from literature, but it was a very interesting choice for me because it was personal based. I went into translation with passion.
That's very nice to hear, Fatima. Translation is so important nowadays since we are in the holy blessed month of Ramadan, and you know people outside of the Arabic language want to read the Quran, the Holy Quran, in English. It is so important. Why do you think translation is an important skill in people these days?
Right. When I went into translation, I remember encountering the first quote about translators. Translators are rewriters of world literature, which means they they rewrite culture, they rewrite feelings of language to other people. They make things easier for people. So a language entails with it culture, feelings. This cannot be transformed in just words. The translator himself or herself has to do this with extra work. When I want to translate something, it's not just words, translating one word to another. It's not just knowing a bit of Arabic language and a bit of English language and then I just transform the text. It's basically understanding the culture. And it's actually beneficial for someone to be able to translate, someone who is familiar with the culture of the source language. If I'm familiar with, for example, the English culture, I'd be able to translate as accurately as possible to the extent that the target text would not show that it's a translated text. It would appear as if it's an original text.
Yes.
So it's an important skill because now we cannot work without needing the other.
True.
So we need the other in all of their aspects, in their culture and their language, and this cannot be done without communication, which is language.
Definitely, Fatima. Also, dear viewers, if you watch a lot of summits that are happening worldwide, you can see that translation and translation people are very important in these summits to interpret and translate directly to the people attending the forums so they can also understand the cultures and, as you said, the language that is being spoken in our modern days. So also, Fatima, would like to ask you, would AI replace translation, and what is the future of translation?
I'm going to give you a small explanation and the audience can assess if AI can replace translation or not. AI can be a starting point, a very good starting point, and actually translators nowadays sometimes cannot translate without AI. They use it as a primary tool in a translation. However, as we said, the words in the language entails with it more than just words, more than just a bunch of letters together. It entails with its feelings, the understanding of a culture. So if we go into translation, translation can be literal, it can be metaphorical. So what kind of translation can AI do? AI is limited to the literal translation of one word to another. It cannot find the equivalence of metaphors, for example, or idioms in one language to another. For example, in one of Shakespeare's lines, he describes a pretty woman, so he says, he compares her to a sunny day. Okay. A sunny day in the European countries is
something rare to happen.
Something rare to happen, so it is something that makes them smile. A sunny day in Kuwait means you have to stay at home. Right, it's not a praise. So how would you translate that in Arabic? The prerequisite of this is you understand the culture. I understand that the culture of the Arabic countries do not see sunny day as a praise. Yeah. So if you translate that, you lost the meaning. You have distorted the meaning. The message has not been delivered as the poet wanted. So AI cannot do that. AI can help all majors, but it's not the end point. You cannot end with the AI translated text in the end. You need the human entity.
It doesn't fulfill all the aspects of translation.
Exactly.
And as you said, with expressions and feelings towards the audience, definitely it's something important to have somebody like you, Fatima Ali Haji, to interpret and translate. So also, what are the challenges that faced you in the process of translation?
Yeah. When I translated my first text in the UK as a student, we had different classes. We had legal translation, we had literary translation, which is literature based, and we had marketing, advertising translation. So legal translation can be done by Google Translate. You can do that using AI because it's structured terminologies. Whereas with marketing, you have a specific audience that you're targeting, you have specific feelings that you're trying to promote. The same thing with literature translation, that is full of idioms and metaphors. So the challenges faced is in these areas where you need to translate something that is relative. You need to understand the sentence properly. That's why translation is considered an interdisciplinary major, because it takes from each field. If I want to translate a scientific text, I need to read about science first to understand the terminologies, to find the proper, most accurate equivalent possible for the audience. So this is the first challenge. You need to be, you need to have comprehensive knowledge as much as possible. 2, ideology. Human nature is you impose ideology in your translated text if you have a specific approach. For example, political texts.
Yeah.
When you come to translate a political text, you do have your political ideology, you do have your opinions. You need to be as much as possible neutral and unbiased and objective.
Yes.
This could be a good point or a bad point. A bad point where you translate neutral reporting news, for example. You can't take sides. Whereas if you want to take this chance to deliver a specific message, scientific message or a political message specifically, you can use this. Translators can use this to deliver what they want. And it happens in interpreting when an interpreter distorts the meaning of the speaker in a specific, connotation.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Fatima, but we are running out of time. So thank you for all your insightful information about translation, how it is important in nowadays. So the viewers would like to thank our guest, Fatima Ali Haji Ibraheem, a faculty member in health sciences and sciences at Kuwait University. So dear viewers, now we shall take a look at another report where we started with various reports, but we can't neglect the fact that those are the days of joy and gathering around tables. All of us gather around the delicious food to break our hungry appetites in Ramadan time. That is why we decided to give you tips on cooking in the kitchen, taken from different cultures, yet similar to us, where in Spain they have lots and lots of similarities. So dear viewers, let's all go and discover what Chef Bernat Rodriguez has for us.